Hey art people, I'm back with part 2 of the Yayoi Kusama inspired pumpkins. Last we were together, I showed you how to create a pumpkin that has sections, like so. You might have made yours a little skinnier at the top, a little thicker at the bottom, or not. You might have just made them all completely the same parentheses type width around. That's absolutely fine. You might have held your paper vertically, you might have held it horizontally, but I had asked you to do 2 or 3. Pick your favorite. What we're going to do is work on our real deal paper. This was our sloppy copy. We were just practicing. Right now we're going to go to the real deal, which is a piece of colored construction paper. In this case, it does not have to be orange. I'm just using orange because I wasn't being super imaginative because, you know, orange pumpkin, but purple looks good, yellow looks good, any color looks good. And what we're going to do is draw our pumpkin on this, but here's the kicker. We have to do it nice and light. I had my Sharpie out. It's nice to outline things, but what we're gonna do is use a pencil, and I'm going to make this much, much darker than what you should be doing, but I want you to be able to see it on the camera. Can you see that line? It's really light. All right, I'm gonna make it a little bit darker. You're going to draw your pumpkin super, super light. Not only does drawing lightly help you to erase a mistake much easier if you make one, but in this case, we're eventually going to get rid of these lines altogether. Because when we fill in our pumpkins using the dot style, dotted pattern style, just like Yayoi Kusama uses, we're going to erase these. So we're only going to be left with dots and not have any lines. So again, I'm making this darker than it should be. You want to have a nice light hand and press very, very lightly when you are drawing your pumpkin. We've had a little practice with this already, so it shouldn't be super difficult. Okay, so we've got, see those pencil lines? Really hard. Eventually these are going to have to be erased. Now, the first part, to do the style of Yayoi Kusama. Remember, our end goal is something like this, okay? So to start off, you might be tempted to go right in the middle and do these big dots. What I'd like you to do instead is we're going to do the sides. Check out the sides. Do you see something different about the sides than the center? Look here. Look, look, look. There are only half dots on the sides. So that's showing us where the separate sections are. So to start off, that's what we're going to do. We're going to do some half sections. So I have a couple different Sharpies here. A Sharpie's great. If you don't have a Sharpie, you could definitely use a Crayola marker. You could even use a pen, a skinny pen, but it's going to be a little more time consuming and a little bit more work if you use a pen. So I always say, work smarter, not harder. Save yourself some time with a nice thick one. I'm going to go ahead and make some half circles, semicircles if you will, along the side of my pumpkin separation. They're a pretty decent size. They're not touching. And I'm following the contour all the way up to the top. So I'm basically trace my line, half circle, fill it in. Trace my line, half circle, fill it in. You can get a little smaller as you get to the top if you want to. I'll do the same thing on the other side. Half circle, fill it in. Make my line, half circle, fill it in. This is a chisel tip Sharpie, which works good for filling in large areas quickly. Conical tip works really good too on the Crayola. It's got a nice thick tip that you can move to the side. So both of those will work really well. Sharpie's permanent though. So keep that in mind. Could be a good thing or a bad thing. Good thing, if you accidentally splash water on your paper, it won't smear. Bad thing, if you drop your Sharpie on your white pants. Okay, so I've done the sides. Do the next sides. These can be a little bit smaller. I might want to not use my conical or my chisel tip here because it's a smaller area. Nothing like a fresh, brand new Sharpie. Filling in spaces. Okay, so you get the point. We're gonna do all the sides, and it's gonna look something like this. We get all the sides done. Then, now we can have some fun and go ahead and do that middle stuff. So, to start off, I'm going to start at my bottom, and I'm gonna do half circle, semicircle, and these in the middle are gonna be big. My circles in the middle are gonna be nice and big. Try and make them even, not super scribbly. If you're super particular, you could use a little tracer. That would take some time though, but you could definitely do that. I'm just eyeing mine up. I think it's just as fun to do it this way and looks just as good. So I've got my middle section of big circles all done. Now, on either side of my big circles, I'm gonna go ahead and make some slightly smaller circles. These are closer together. As you can see, it's not super time consuming. It's actually kind of relaxing. If you can get into a little quiet space or maybe listen to some music by yourself and do this, it's totally relaxing. Try to make them nice and neat, solid. Take a break if your wrist is hurting. Maybe give yourself a little stretch, because it can start hurting if you are using it very frequently. Okay, big, medium, now we get our small. You can change Sharpies if you want to. I'm gonna just stick with this one because I'm in a groove right now. And then maybe even some small dots on the sides. This isn't really giving me a dot though, this shape. So a tiny, tiny little circle. You wanna do that for this section and then this section too. So we've got our big circles. We'll go ahead and do medium all the way down. Another row of the small, all the way down. Same thing on this side, and this side. Then the stem is going to be opposite. Check this out. We've got a nice black stem with orange circles and a nice little orange line for the striation in that stem. So that's what we're gonna do. What I like to do first is, let's outline it. Get that weird, funny, chunky shape at the top. Outline my stem. Got my little line there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make some circles that are touching. There's a big space in between the circle. It's definitely orange, but they're touching, and all I have to do is fill in these tiny little dots right here. Maybe I'll make another line right here so I can see the orange line. There we go, looking good. I like it, I like it. The same thing over here, except let's make another line so we have that orange stripe to show where that stem striation is, and then circles again. Easy, right? Little time consuming, but the results are worth it. This is going to be a great fall piece of art to hang up on your wall. Oh, and on the inside, I'm going to switch here to my small Sharpie, and I want to leave a little orange rim, sort of framing my shape. Not bad, eh? Kind of cute. So, when you're done, get yourself a nice eraser and get rid of these pencil lines. You might have done them light enough so we can't even see them, which is good. Mine are definitely a little dark, you can see them there, but that's the next step. After that, we're gonna move on to part 3, which is the background. But we'll talk about that later. You worked hard enough today. This is looking good. I'm loving it. Keep up the good work, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.